All right, welcome to the Force Coffee Break. This is the episode number 46, and this is, as usual, this is a very open space for any general topics that you are working, or sorry, projects that you are working, questions that you have. And let me start with you. If you have any questions or topics that you like to bring up, you're always welcome to open your microphone and go ahead. I see a few names that I recognize, so if you're new, welcome. Thanks for joining. Simejne, Nijelko, Hermes, Ricky, who else? Any questions, any topics that you would like to bring up?
Yes, I always have a question, but I don't want to be first always.
Okay, don't worry, Jaco. We always like your questions. Go ahead.
Okay, I will start with my sharing my screen. It will be much more easier to ask the question. It's about these edges, this blur black shadow here. Is it possible to set up to be much more realistic, like here in inventor? See, there is no the edge is sharp. There is no any shadows.
I think you can disable shadows in the viewer, and
I found only this one environment, and it's okay, but I'm not sure. I'll try, but display edges, display points.
Yeah, you can probably let me get here. Just like, let me remember what it is. Interesting ones. It's usually adding shadows. It's a good way to improve the visual, because when someone is looking at it, it feels more real, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me find out here. And what I'm looking for is, yeah, so you can go to the preset, but you can also disable shadows. Try this. I'm typing on the chat window.
Okay.
And you can, I believe you can disable shadows. I'm trying to remember that one, but our viewer experts not here, are they? No. I think this is just a border shadow.
Or to make them softer, that shadow to be little bit thinny.
Say again, sorry.
Or if there is some way to make that edge thinny, it's too much here. So if you zoom it,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Much more bigger.
Trying to remember here. Yeah, that's the only one that I can remember right now. Appearance tab, right, Alice?
Here on appearance.
Yeah, I'm trying to open up my viewer here, but it's taking too long.
Round tab, it's okay. No, it's much more better here. Ambient, ambient shadows, yes.
Yes.
But that is also could be changed programming, yes. Then I open the viewer got something, and
yeah, I think that's the code that I sent you. That's the one I'm trying to replicate here to see if it works as I expect it works. Yeah, finally got it to launch. Give me a sec. Yeah, okay. Pause. So, yeah, I think that's the one. But the code that I sent you should do the same trick, I guess.
Yes, it's okay. I will try to implement it, and I hope that will be
Cool.
best.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for solution.
Any other questions?
Kind of have a weirdly specific one.
Okay.
Yeah, Ricky, go ahead.
Oh,
Ricky, right?
So, yeah. That's
Oh.
okay. So when I'm trying to use the sheet viewer for Forge, and there's the viewports extension, and I looked through the code for that, and I saw you can use it's like 2D 3D matrix, and yeah, it seemed to include. So when I tried to translate some coordinates I have from the model that are relative to the internal origin, seems to translate in terms of scaling, translates fine, but it's off by a constant translation factor. So scaling's fine, but in terms of X and Y, it's off by a certain constant. So I'm not sure how to get that constant. It seems to be random for each sheet I try it on. So I was wondering if you had some insight on that.
I'm thinking maybe.
Can you show something? Can you share the screen and show something? What exactly you're saying? One thing I seem to remember is that each view has like a different translation. So depending on where the geometry is in the sheet, you know, I seem to remember each view actually has a different transformation.
Yeah.
One more thing you will have to take into account. It's a bit complicated.
I'll have it set up right now. What I'm actually doing is that I'm trying to figure out that translation factor kind of a weird way, like just comparing the relationship between objects that I know are in the viewer. So let me see if I can disable that code just to show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sorry, I think I missed you for a second. Are you able to share or not? I think I missed it for a moment.
I think it's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while you do it, I think Semenj, you also have a question, right?
okay. So thank you very much. So through your colleagues and other support, I come up with a solution. So I did it my Forge to run on the server side and split it into two. And now what I want to do is how I can, when I'm rendering, how can I assign a texture on the table like a chair? So can I show you what I did and ask a question? Can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So now this one is running on Microsoft Azure on the local side, on the front end and back end. But now I want to assign a texture in here on the chair or on the table, because in the furniture industry, they usually have different fabrics, you know, they have different fabrics to present for each product. So if I assign a layer for this fabric feature, can I bring it back in Forge and present it in this way so that it will be well rendered as compared to what it takes as a layer color name?
Yeah, so can you select this tabletop, please, and go to and see what, so it's one element, right? When it's selected. So you can either have the material coming from the original source, I suspect here AutoCAD, so you can apply the texture on AutoCAD, or in the viewer, you can say define a new material and apply to that element, right? So you can apply a material to an element as a whole, right? In this case, the tabletop. And Adam was really fast. He shared a link on the chat window showing how to apply a new material on an element. So there are different ways to do it. Right? So the viewer will do it for you if the material is already defined, but you can apply a new material once you load on the viewer, and you can switch materials. So if you get the original model like that without any material applied, you can apply the different options to find the one you're looking for.
Am I applying it on the forge side? Okay, and then it means that I can have my own library on the server side, accessing through here and assigning it, or?
Well, server side and client side, that's a decision where you store the data, right? But on the forge side, it means that after translate the model, you're not changing the translation anymore. You're not calling forge anymore. You're just using the viewer on the client side to apply new textures.
Okay. So you said there is a sample code I can get?
Yeah, check on the chat window. There is a blog post that Adam Nagy shared that should help you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and in that case, we were actually using a template document. So you could have a template document with all the materials you want to support. You could just load that in addition to the model where you want to change the materials.
Yeah, that's actually easier, right? Because you define all the materials you want in AutoCAD and then just switch between them in the viewer. So you don't have to define them again. Define a new material is always complicated because you have to get all the angles and colors and all of that right. But if you do that in AutoCAD, you have the visual feedback for that sooner, right? So you can just rely on that information sooner. And let me share what Adam was showing. Oops. Yeah. Continue and share. So that's the blog post Adam just shared. We resize a bit here to be a bit better. Yeah, you see that there are a few materials defining, you're just switching between them.
And if you scroll, then you can see that's the template document with the spheres. So that's a template Fusion 360 document that is also loaded into the same model, same viewer.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Semejne. Rick, are you ready?
I was looking through the models that I can show, but I don't think I can show any of the ones that I'm working on. Yeah.
So what I would suggest you then is you can book a time with us, would be a private time instead of low. So this is an open space, right? So there's a lot of people here, but you can always book a time with one of us to review that. So if you go back to the Calendly, Autodesk Forge, and everyone on the team is listed here. So find one that is best suited for you, time zone and expertise wise, and you can just book a time. And that will be a more private conversation.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, if you cannot share today, so yeah. Thank you. Any other questions?
Hello.
Yes. Hi, Moses.
Hi. I have a question about the ability to track material changes in Forge in the published model. So I was looking at a previous example that you did, custom properties using design automation, where you take the properties of the materials, and I think you are putting them into a MongoDB database, and you can be in the client side and see those materials. However, I was wondering, since we have some new updates to the APIs, is there a more direct way to do that? One of the reasons I asked that because I see the new data connectors that are advertised in Revit 2023. And it seems like you're able to push updates to Microsoft Teams and Power Automate. And is that based on what's possible in the API updates? And is it possible now? Can I do that before Revit 2023, like the data connections?
So luckily the expert is here, but Adam is, let's try just start with that, right? So the data connector, data exchange API works for 2023 and ACC, right? So you need those two things to get it started. And the connectors, we're still building lots of those connectors. So there are a few available today. I believe Teams, as you mentioned, is not available yet.
Okay, so it starts with Revit 2023 onward. It's not going to be with Revit 2021 and 2022.
So as I understand, it's 2023 only for now. We may patch previous versions, but not now.
Okay. One other quick question that I had in the boot camp last week. I noticed that when we were building the viewer, that the Navisworks file that I had in my hub, I could select the materials in there and read it directly without, as opposed to the Revit example, where I think you would have to do the custom properties extraction with design automation. So I wanted to ask, does that Navisworks file have to be published to BIM 360, or can it just to BIM 360 in order for that to happen?
Yeah, so just on your previous question about the data exchange, it's available here at documentation, and was just released maybe 3 weeks ago. So yeah, it's still in beta and it's very fresh. And there is also a blog post on this topic, right? No, about your question on the BIM, Navis and Revit, you always have to translate regardless the format, right? And you don't need to do any pre-work on anything. Just upload and translate. That can be done in BIM 360 or using OSS. You just upload to a bucket and translate in view, regardless the format, right? You may want to do design automation as well for Revit if you want to do additional extraction of information or additional changes. But to just view and look at the properties, you don't have to do anything extra, just upload and translate. And that's the same regardless the format that you are using. So RVT, Navis, anything, just upload and translate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We are indeed planning, back to your first question about the data exchange. We are planning to have, the API was released a couple weeks back, and we are planning a data days global event, right? That's coming now in May, and we start in Europe, and registration is open, and also in the US. So if you live anywhere close to these places, Detroit, Boston, Denver, or San Francisco, you can come to the event late June. So we'll be talking about data exchange and everything that we are doing about around data, including model properties, data exchange, cloud models. All of that will be these events about that.
In relation to that, I know I asked this in the past, but since we're on data exchange and exposing the data, are there examples using machine learning? I know I asked this before. I think someone had a few examples.
Not
in Forge.
Yeah, no, we don't have samples from our side on machine learning. Maybe someone else that was attending the event shared anything. I don't recall that one. Anyone here doing machine learning as well, so it can share what you're doing from other companies.
I just want to say something before I leave, because I have another meeting.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, I would like to say thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. So by bringing this solution, the Forge solution, I'm going to present it, my business solution in Chicago in exhibition. So I don't know what's going to happen, and I will present my solution in the world's biggest office furniture exhibition in Chicago. So it's in mid-June. So I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, and thanks for sharing that.
Okay, bye.
So
All right,
just to give
yeah.
some
Go ahead,
context,
Moses.
what we're interested in doing is we have the quantities that are in the Revit model or the Navisworks model, but that doesn't always reflect what's actually used in the field. So for example, something may be modeled only for the surfaces, whereas it's a solid concrete block in the field. So there's a difference between the quantities. We were thinking of using machine learning to train train on past projects, and then start to use machine learning to fill the gap between those deltas based on what we've done in the past. And so I don't know if there are any examples close to that, or maybe I should book some office time with one of the Forge developers, but that's basically the idea. And I don't know if you can speak to how practical that would be. I imagine that once we have get the data out of Revit or Navisworks, it's just a case of traditional.
Yeah, I suspect so. Yes, I think it will be really a matter of getting the data out and train your model, to extract the data we're looking for. Forge-wise, no, we are really providing the data for you, right? And after you have the data, you may go back to Forge Viewer to show that data. But no, the data, we provide the data, you do the machine learning, and then get the results after that. Show the results after that.
I have a question. If
Yeah,
there's
go ahead,
time.
Bowen. Yes.
So thank you so much for your guys' help last month. It was a translation issue that I was having with the bounding boxes. As it turns out, the coordinates were different. And so all I had to do was apply the transform from internal to shared and convert them from meters to feet. And it worked with one model. Today, I don't know if you guys can see my screen over here.
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've used the model properties extraction. It gives me the large model viewer ID, as well as the bounding box minimums and the maximums. And what I had been doing when it was just one model, the LMVID matches the LVID and RVID from the clash data perfectly. So I had no issues. But because an LVID and an RVID is not a constant identifier, every time that I run Clash, I get a new LVID, or every time the model's updated, I get a new LVID and RVID, excuse me, for that element. And so, and each model has the possibility of using the same LVID or RVID as another model. So like yesterday's, for example, I tried to create a dictionary. It said I had duplicate keys. One of the IDs was 9906. And so what I did was I took the model version URN and concatenated it with the LMVID. And I did the same thing with my Clash results. So I took the document ID, got the URN from it, and then concatenated that. And then I created a dictionary. So now my dictionaries create, but for whatever reason, I'm getting this error saying that the given key was not present in the dictionary, which is, and the amount of times that happens is, it looks like it's about half. And so I'm scratching my head trying to figure out why that would be, if it's something that I just have to let the models update a little longer, or if it's just potentially a user error thing. But I don't know if that makes sense. Basically, my issue is that the keys that I'm generating from my Clash results, even though they have the same model version URN and they're pulling the same parameter, for whatever reason, it's not the values that I'm getting from my properties extraction don't match this.
Yeah, I don't have the answer right now. I'd have to think about it. I haven't really. I have to really dig on those IDs and what they represent. maybe Adam or Jaime have some ideas, or Harun. But I haven't played with this one. I remember there is a ticket, right, that you started with us.
Yes. Yeah, and that one got resolved. What Xiaodong figured out was that
Oh, okay.
the DB ID was pulling from the old SVF instead of the SVF2.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
And so
Yeah. So Xiaodong is really the expert on this API.
Okay.
It was released maybe a couple months back. And if you can start a new ticket, we can definitely review that again.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. And sorry I'm not having us right now, but we can definitely learn and see what's going on.
No, absolutely. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Augusto.
Thank you. All right. We are just getting on time. Any last questions?
Yeah, Augusto.
Yeah, Carlo.
So since the data management endpoints for the objects that use OSS are being retired for the direct S3, the documentation online still has the old endpoints that are going to retire in September, and there's no warning saying that, hey, these are going to retire. Use the signed S3 endpoints at the bottom of the list. I was wondering if it'd be possible to relay that to whoever is managing the updating of the documentation.
Thank you. Definitely, we're just finishing that, and yeah, and Jaime to take note of that. Yeah. And we are fixing the documentation. We know some pieces are still outdated.
Okay. Yeah, just I'd hate
yeah,
for
thank you. Yes, good reminder. Thank you. And sorry, it's a bit confusing. We are reviewing all the documentation, and it's taking some extra time.
Thank you.
Anything else, Jaime, that I forgot?
We have an accelerator in 2 weeks, so we still have space for the accelerator. So if you are looking to continue your development and so on, feel free to join us for that one. It's going to be the week of May. What is it? The 16th?
Also about the OSS that Carlo was talking about.
Oh, no.
No, yeah, I think that's it, right? You have to just fix that piece, right? We know that some pieces are missing.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we are just on time. Thank you very much for attending today. It was a very nice session. And as let me dismiss this here. And so the next coffee break will be again same link, same time on May 18. And yeah, see you then. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.